Are black people their own worst enemy? That's a question that some people tend to ask, you know, especially in the black conscious community. Uh, my take on that is, everybody wants to go to heaven, right? But in order to go to heaven, or should I say, in order for heaven to be heaven, you have to behave a certain way, right? If you live in heaven, you cannot allow people to just do whatever they want to do. You can't allow people to not follow rules, not follow laws, just be completely lawless. Otherwise, it will be chaos, right? You'll have a lot of dysfunction, the same sort of dysfunction that you see in a lot of black communities in the black neighborhood. I feel like, I'm not going to say everybody, I'm not going to generalize, but I feel like in a lot of black communities and a lot of black neighborhoods, some of the issues that we're having is, it seems like we don't understand or kind of have that mindset. Like, if you want to live in heaven, okay, or in order for heaven to be heaven, you have to behave a certain way. So that same type of way of thinking has to be applied to your community, to your neighborhoods. If you don't want certain problems and certain things happening in your neighborhoods, then people have to behave a certain way, right? Or should I say, there's certain behaviors that you can't allow in your neighborhood, right? For example, like, okay, if you want your neighborhood to be more prosperous, if you want your neighborhood to be, or your community to be a little bit more like heaven, right? One thing is, you cannot, uh, you cannot stay up all night drinking alcohol, smoking weed, listening to loud music all the time. Because if you live in a neighborhood like that, where you have a lot of people living that sort of lifestyle, it's going to bring down your neighborhood. Is going to hurt your culture in your community overall. You see what I'm saying? If you have a culture of young people or older people living that sort of lifestyle, then your neighborhood is not going to be the heaven that you want to live in. You see what I'm saying? Another example would be, okay, say you don't exercise, you don't eat healthy, you don't get good rest, you don't go to sleep at night. Okay, these things can open the gates of hell in your own life. If you don't exercise, it can increase your chances of developing health problems. In fact, diabetes and high blood pressure, those type of diseases, which is common in the black community, a lot of that is linked to lack of exercise or lack of physical activity. You understand? So you kind of making choices or displaying certain behaviors that is bringing hell into your own life. If you don't eat healthy, if you don't sleep at night, these things will bring hell into your own life and ultimately also in your own community. You know, finances, mismanaging your finances, being irresponsible, having children that you can't afford. I understand everybody makes mistakes, or things happen. Some things are out of your control. But once again, growing up in a black community, I see the type of things that black people do that put themselves into a financial hell. They put themselves in a financial hell when you so quick to buy materialistic things that don't really matter. You keep having children when you already have kids that you can't afford. It's smarter just to not have any kids at all if you can't afford them. If you don't have enough money to pay rent and, really take care of yourself, what makes you think that having children is a good way to uh, uh, make some sort of income? Actually, you're making less money. Actually, you're doing better when you didn't have any kids because you're the only person you have to worry about. You see what I'm saying? So do I think that black people are their own worst enemy? Not totally, but for the most part, yes, for the most part. Not everything. Of course, like I said, some things we can't control, some things, we just been dealt a bad hand. But I don't feel, but I know. I can see. I can look out my window and see how people destroy themselves. You see what I'm saying? From bad decision making. Like I said, life is all about making decisions, and if you want to live a good life, you have to make good decisions. You see what I'm saying? You have to, if you want to feel like you're living in heaven on earth, you have to literally change your behavior. It comes down to your behavior, really. When you think about heaven and hell, it's all about how people act. That's what it's really about. Hell is just a place where people do whatever they want to do. That's why hell is so violent. That's actually what hell is all about. It's really a place of violence. That's what it is. People are out of control. Nobody wants to do what God tells them to do. That's what hell is. It's just a place that is absent from God. So you don't want to follow his rules. You don't want to follow commandments. You want to do whatever you want to do. Your environment is going to be hell and chaos in no time. You see what I'm saying? That's what it really comes down to.